Hey there, Hayden here, your Spokane real estate resource. And if you're a physician moving to Spokane for residency or a new position and you're wondering how to make buying a home actually doable in today's market, then this video is specifically for you. We're going to break down how a special 0% down loan program just for doctors can help, what types of homes and neighborhoods make sense based on your salary and schedule, and what you need to know to make a smart move during a busy career transition. So let's get right into it. Over the past few years, I've worked with multiple doctors, nurses, and medical professionals relocating to Spokane, and here's what I've learned. You are some of my favorite clients. You're smart, decisive, respectful of the process, and you're also really busy. And whether you're just wrapping up residency or moving your family for a new attending position, you've got a lot on your plate and not a lot of time to waste. And the challenge is Spokane's home prices have gone up over the past few years, and for most of my physician clients, they're buying in the $600,000 to $1.6 million range. And so that's a big jump, especially when you're just starting to earn real income coming right out of residency. But here's the good news. There's a special loan program designed specifically for doctors, and it could make this process a whole lot easier. Now, I'm not a mortgage lender, but I do work closely with one that is offering a fantastic version of a doctor loan product. So I sat down with him to break it all down for you, how it works, who qualifies, and why this could be a game changer if you're relocating to Spokane this year. So let's jump into that conversation real quick. All right, Andrew, thank you so much for joining me and kind of explaining this whole doctor loan thing. I think people will find this super valuable. So I just want to start with the basics. What exactly is a doctor's loan and who is eligible for one?
Yeah, Hayden, thanks for having me on. So, a doctor's loan, as it sounds like, is specific to a group of people. So, it's a selective program. Not everybody will be eligible or qualify for that. And they tend to be referred to as doctor's loans because most of the time it is a doctor's loan specific for doctors. But, for example, one that I have access to, we call it a professional's loan. And that professional's loan, as you can imagine, expands beyond just doctors. It gets into the different types of other medical professions, as well as, say, physician assistants, medical residents, nurse practitioners, nurse anesthesiast. I think I said that correctly. Apologize for those who have that role. And then non-medical as well. So that's the big piece. Most of these loans are doctor's loans in the medical field, are professionals loan, very similar, same features, which we'll talk about, but also can go towards attorneys, CPAs with certain requirements, engineers, as well as architects also. So we kind of
That
broaden that range. More people are eligible than a standard doctor loan would allow.
Cool. Yeah, I had no idea there was so many professions that qualified for that. One of the biggest selling points I've heard about it is it being a 0% down option. Can you give us an idea of kind of what the terms are of this loan and what that looks like?
Absolutely. So zero down is definitely one of the key features that kind of makes this product unique. But above all else, it also allows for no mortgage insurance, no monthly mortgage insurance premiums that would impact your monthly payment. So you're getting that zero down payment product without necessarily having the monthly mortgage insurance to make it even more affordable. So that's kind of some of the key features right there.
Well, cool. That seems super useful. 0% down, no PMI. I guess would all doctors be wanting to use that? Is it best for everybody, or do you feel like it's for a certain person in a certain phase of life?
That's the great question right there because this product was created to fill a need that doctors commonly have, but it's not necessarily saying all doctors are going to be, of the most benefit from utilizing this product. So the people in particular that this product is going to be a home run with is going to be those who are newer doctors. So kind of more entry level. They still maybe have large amounts of student loans. So student loans are a big one because how we consider student loans is going to differ from other loan types. So we're able to say take what might be from tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loans and not have to hurt their qualifications with a large monthly payment. That can impact how much we can approve them for, essentially. So those who are newer doctors have large student loan amounts, definitely is going to be a benefit. But primarily, any doctor who just has limited savings, limited or no savings, and also perhaps maybe an investor savvy, financially savvy person that just knows maybe they can leverage more of their home purchase and use more leverage, use more of a loan amount to do it. and then maybe use their savings to go invest it elsewhere and make larger returns than say a 7 or 7.5% interest rate. So it certainly can apply to just about any doctor. But some who say I have, 20% down, I wouldn't have mortgage insurance anyways. There may be some other products that might just fit the bill either equally or maybe just a touch better based on certain features that we can talk about and compare these loans later.
Cool. And I, in my experience, have found that I guess these newer doctors might think that they have to be in their career for 6, 12, 24 months before they can buy a house. But my experience, it's been a little bit different. How much time do they have to put into their job before they could qualify for this?
That's another unique feature, with this loan is they do not have to be in their career role or have that 2 years length of employment, at their current job position, their current role. We can essentially see them wherever they are at in their journey of, that medical career, that medical profession of becoming a doctor or those other professions I listed. The main thing is they just have to be earning some type of income. So if they're still in, like medical school and there's just no income coming in yet from one of those roles I mentioned, that's
Mhm.
going to still be difficult. But the second you have an offer letter, the second you start, perhaps a residency that's paid, anytime you start making income, we can essentially use that, capture it, and get you a loan for it.
Very cool. Yeah, I know I've had a client come in and be graduating from residency in like June, had the offer letter starting in like September, and she had like a month off, but they were still able to get into the house because they knew that that income was going to continue. So a lot of flexibility there. So are there any limitations buyers should know about, like max loan amounts, any specific property types, anything like that?
Absolutely. So this is intended for primary residence and or second homes. Second homes, as long as you live there for some duration of the year, that can make it a second home. So those property types would be eligible. These are going to be single family homes only, so 1 unit properties. If there was a single family home that has an accessory dwelling unit, so a smaller accessory dwelling unit, another
Mhm.
dwelling on the property, that's something that could potentially be eligible as well. And then otherwise, max loan amounts. So when you're going zero down, here's another great feature of this product, of this loan type, is we have max loan amounts up to $1.25 million with zero down still. And so as you're exploring different loan products, typically when you start to get above currently around 806, 807,000, when your loan amount
Mhm.
goes above that, you enter into a territory of what's called jumbo loans or jumbo financing, which typically, and that'll vary from different lender, but normally when you get into a jumbo loan as a standard, your down payment requirements go up and your qualifying needs, what the lender needs from you to qualify, also goes up. And so this is great because it keeps the same exact qualifying guidelines all the way clear up to 1.25 million, still with zero down. And we don't run into as much, especially in the Spokane area, where we're constantly riding the line of a loan amount, right? And
Mhm.
it's, oh well, now it's 10% down instead of 5% down because we're over that 806, $807,000 loan amount. So that's the max loan amount, zero down. We can go higher than 1.25 million. It's just that's when we do start to require, okay, then a 5% down payment. And then that'll
Mm.
get us to 1.5 million. And it'll just kind of stair step its way up from there on what will be required to get up to really as high as a $2.5 million loan amount.
Crazy.
A couple
Um,
things to note just there as well is this is a product that will have a minimum credit score. So that is set at 720. We'll
mhm.
pull through all three credit bureaus, take the middle score of those three, and we want to see a 720 or higher. So that is one piece that should be considered as well.
Cool. So let's give just a super brief comparison just to a normal conventional loan and the professional's loan. Like, what are the interest rates compared, mortgage insurance, which you kind of already touched on, and then any additional closing costs, things like that.
Yeah, so we've already touched on a couple of the differences that make this program unique, but let's just go through a quick list as they compare, whether it's pros, whether it's cons, and so forth. The zero down, of course, there's not many loan products that can get you there, especially with that no mortgage insurance. So that's going to help, on monthly payment and definitely on the bank account when it comes to how much cash is needed to close. Now, there are for that kind of additional risk or those additional features, there is essentially a cost to that, but it's not going to change or add as a line item you're paying out of pocket. The interest rate is typically going to be just a touch higher than maybe where the lowest, conventional loan rate or VA FHA is, say with, excellent credit. The as low as rates might be a little bit less. But for example, I have one person right now who they're only 0.25% higher from their conventional loan what they would have been by taking this on. So zero down, no mortgage insurance. We talked about the rate maybe just a touch higher, but that mortgage insurance, when you don't have hundreds of dollars of a payment on there for that, the rate's higher. It's almost always going to be, a lower overall monthly payment. And lastly, I would say the actual repayment term can differ. Typically with doctor loans or these professional loans, you're not normally going to get a 30-year fixed. It's usually going to be some type of adjustable rate mortgage. And that term can sound scary. People hear adjustable rate mortgage and they think, what if my mortgage goes to 18% next year? Now, these adjustable rate mortgages, the initial rate you get is fixed for a certain amount of time. So there might be a 5-year, a 6, a 7, a 10-year adjustable rate mortgage. And by all means, you're getting that rate fixed. It's not going to fluctuate for that, say, first, term amount. And then after that, then it can adjust as soon as every 6 months thereafter. So there's going to be that difference of fixed rate mortgage versus an adjustable rate mortgage. But as you know, Haydn, mortgage insurance is typically something that's on the front end of the loan, right? For 10 or 11 years, somewhere in that range. And so the whole purpose of this loan is to help you save up front and to get you into a home, make it easier to qualify for you with some, looser guidelines. So the whole point is to save you a large amount and get things done in that, first 5 to 10 years that you're there. You'll typically refinance out of these loans later on.
Cool. Well, that's all super interesting. And thanks so much for being on here. The last question is, what advice would you give to relocating physician or professional, and what should their first step be if they're looking at taking advantage of this product?
Sure thing, Hayden. Yeah, I'm always happy to come on and share info. And it's never too soon to start planning for this, whether you're thinking it's 6 months, a year out. And the best way to get started is really just to reach out. In the link in the description of this video, you'll find my contact information. You can always reach out, call, text, or email. And one thing that I can do to really help that game plan for you and start making that vision, viewable, we can start that pre-approval process without having to do a hard credit pull right now. So at no cost, at no impact to your credit score, we can start to go through and say, hey, here's where it's looking like, you'll be. And is that where you're wanting to get to? And we'll look at where are you right here, right now? Where do you want to get to? If you're there, great. We get started with the next steps. If not, I will spend the time with you to make a game plan that we can follow and reconnect, say in a month, 3 months, 6 months, and see that plan through. So that way you are fully prepared and there's no secret surprises or unexpected occurrences when you decide you actually want to pull the trigger.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks, Andrew, so much. Let's get back into this video. All right. So if that sounds like a fit, the next question is, where should you actually be looking? So based on what most of my doctor clients are buying, here are a few neighborhoods and areas I recommend checking out in that $600 to $1.6 million range. First would be South Hill, especially around Rockwood and High Drive. You're gonna get classic charm, proximity to Sacred Heart, and walkability to restaurants and parks. I mean, if you're somebody that really just wants to be within a 5-minute drive to the hospital, if you're somebody that's gonna be on call regularly, this can be a very convenient spot to live. And I know that a lot of medical professionals live in this area. There's some gorgeous houses available, and we have a handful of people that live in that Rockwood neighborhood. There's some beautiful options around Comstock Park available currently on the market. So I think this could be an amazing option for medical professionals. And to expound upon the South Hill, it's not just those historic neighborhoods like Comstock or Rockwood, but there's actually some newer areas as well that I'm finding some medical professionals being interested in. So there's quite a handful of new construction areas built by Paris Homes, which I would say is one of the more high-end builders in our area. There's Trickle Creek, Glenair Estates, and they have a new one going in right across from Moran Prairie Elementary School on 57th Avenue on the Upper South Hill. And then talking about the Upper South Hill, I would say that it's relatively common for medical professionals that maybe want a little bit of acreage or expanding their budget into that over $1 million range to be looking into the Hangman Valley, Latah Valley, Palouse area, which is that section south of the South Hill. So you're going to be driving down 195, and you could be looking at the Hangman Valley Golf Course, where it is surrounded by some of Spokane County's most high-end homes. There's some great properties in the Hangman Valley area. But then as you go through the Valley Forge area and things like that, you can get properties on 5, 10, 20 plus acres that are in this luxury price range for Spokane, $1.2 million and up. So if you want that more rural aspect with a high-end home, then I see a lot of people living in this kind of the Palouse area south of the South Hill, so they can easily access Highway 195, drive straight down it, hit I-90, and be at the hospital in a pretty short amount of time. We've also sold homes to some medical professionals in the River Run neighborhood. This is in West Spokane. It's at the base of Palisades Park, right along the Spokane River, very close to the Indian Canyon and Downriver Golf Course. There's a trail system right along the river. There's another bike trail system that could take you all the way from this neighborhood into Kendall Yards if you're a biker or anything like that. So it's just a great pocket of some very high-end homes that have river views. This is just one example of a specific area that we've helped doctors move into. Other options would include 5 Mile Prairie with new construction, larger homes, great schools, and a quiet area. There's a neighborhood that is being wrapped up by Danny Sullivan Construction that is pretty high-end, $800,000 to $1 million new construction homes in that area. If you can find a resale, that's a great location as well. But all along the rim of 5 Mile Prairie are some amazing properties that have views of the city and things like that. For those that may be working at the Valley Multicare or anything like that, areas like Liberty Lake where you can live on Legacy Ridge and again have views of the city, live in an upscale neighborhood, have multiple parks in the area, high-end schools, and especially access to Ridgeline High School, which is a brand new high school in that area. But realistically, you could live almost anywhere because it's not that hard to be within a 30-minute drive of any of our central hospitals. So you could live all the way up north in Meade or Colbert or south in the Palouse and really not be too far away if you were on call or needed to get to the hospital quickly. So look, relocating is hard, but buying a home while switching jobs, finishing residency, and learning a new city is even harder. But with the right strategy, the right loan programs, it can make this whole thing a lot easier. So if you're moving to Spokane for a medical position, I'd love to connect. My team has helped many doctors make the move, and we understand the timeline, the pressure, and what's actually realistic for your life. So use the link in the description to schedule a call, and we'll help you figure out if now is the right time to buy, what your options look like, and how to use different programs to your advantage. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and check out our other Spokane relocation videos. If you have anything you want to know or want a video on, just leave it in the comments down below, and I will likely make a video specifically for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.